Hi everyone, this is Mike Lewandowski coming to you today with another video. Today's featured saint, and I didn't say early church saint because our saint today is from the Middle Ages, is Saint Anthony of Padua. Information on Anthony comes to us today from the Catholic Encyclopedia, www.newadvent.org, and from taylormarshall.com. And St. Anthony is often depicted holding the Christ child, and St. Anthony is also the saint that most Catholics pray to when they lose something. So Anthony was not Italian. He was born in Lisbon, Portugal in the year 1195. He came from a noble and wealthy family. At the age of 15, Anthony decided to dedicate his life to Christ, so he became an Augustinian. However, something would change the course of his life in the year 1220. In the year 1220, at the church where he was at, the bodies of the first Franciscan martyrs were brought there. These 5 holy Franciscans had went down to Morocco to witness to the gospel. They were martyred for their faith, and Anthony got a chance to look upon their bodies. Instead of being horrified, Anthony was full of zeal and passion. He too wanted to be a martyr for Christ, and he sought to enter the Franciscan Order. He was given permission to do so, and he entered the Franciscans and was given the name of Anthony. His baptismal name was Ferdinand. And one of the first things that he did is that he set out for Morocco to be martyred. But God had other plans. He became sick, and storms caused the ship that he was on to port in Sicily. After this time, Anthony decided to spend his life in prayer, penance, and silence. But again, God had other plans. One day, Anthony was invited to an ordination along with some of the other priests. This ordination was for Franciscans and Dominicans. And when it came time for the ordination, they realized that they had not chosen anyone to preach the sermon. The Dominicans were asked, they were known for their great preaching, but they declined because it was last minute. So they gave Anthony the assignment. And they just thought he was maybe going to read something out of the breviary. But he got up there to preach, and he blew everyone away. His eloquence, his clarity, his deep spiritual insight. Well, after this, Francis of Assisi wrote him a letter and asked him to teach theology to the friars. Anthony went around preaching against the moral evils of his day, and Anthony fought against the heresies of his day. In fact, he was even given the nickname the Hammer of the Heretics. And there's actually one story. He was in a synod, which is a gathering of bishops, and he publicly reproved an archbishop. So he was fearless. He did not always say, nice things, but he challenged people. And he always stood up for the truth. And Anthony also had many different miraculous things happen in his life. Probably the most famous one is when the Christ child appeared to him, and he was able to hold him. And that's, like I said, how he's most often depicted as. By the year 1231, his last Lent, he would have 30,000 people, sometimes more, come to hear him preach. And Anthony passed away on June 13th, 1231, at the age of 36. He was beatified and then canonized shortly after that. He was declared a doctor of the church for his impressive insights and learning in theology. And till this day, his tongue remains incorrupt in Italy, in the basilica that bears his name. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on St. Anthony, and I hope you realize, like I did, that there's more to Anthony than simply him helping us find our lost things. So thank you very much, and we'll be coming out with another video very soon.